So, what if I told you that a 1,500-year-old guide, one written for monks living in a quiet monastery, actually holds some of the deepest secrets to living a balanced, meaningful life, even today? Okay, let's jump right in and explore the incredible, lasting wisdom of the Rule of St. Benedict. Right out of the gate, Benedict tells you exactly what he's up to. This isn't just a list of rules for managing a big house. No, he's founding a schola. That's Latin for a school. A special kind of school, a place of learning and discipline, all designed for one single purpose: to learn bit by bit how to love God with your whole heart. So here's how we're going to walk through this school. We'll start with its main purpose, then look at the pretty radical promises monks have to make. We'll dive into their daily rhythm, understand the leader's role, and finally, uncover the secret ingredient that has made the simple rule last for centuries. Okay, first things first. This idea of the monastery as a school, it's not a retreat center or a commune. It's a place for serious spiritual training. And absolutely everything else we're going to talk about is built on this one foundational idea. Now, to enroll in the school, a monk takes 3 very specific vows. And you might be thinking, oh yeah, poverty, chastity, and obedience. But these are different. They are uniquely Benedictine, and the way they work together is really fascinating. The first is stability, and this is, well, it's a radical idea today. It's a promise to stay put, for life, in one specific monastery with one specific group of people. The genius of it is that it stops you from just running away when things get tough. And let's be honest, in the spiritual life, things always get tough. It just roots you in reality. Next up is conversion of life. So if stability is about staying in one place, this vow is all about the process of changing in that place. It's a commitment to a lifelong, never-ending transformation, a constant turning back to God in every little part of your day. This is where things like poverty and chastity come in as part of that daily striving. And finally, we have obedience. Now, this is the rudder that steers that transformation. And it's not about blind submission. It's a freely chosen act of love. By promising to listen to the wisdom of the abbot and the rule, the monk is basically saying, I want my growth to be guided by God's will, not just by my own ego. So you see how they all lock together? It's beautiful, really. Stability plants the tree in the ground. Conversion of life is the actual growth of that tree. And obedience is like the trellis, making sure it grows straight and strong towards the light. Together, they create the perfect little ecosystem for a life of prayer. Okay, so we have these big vows. But how do they actually play out? What does a monk's day, this life of transformation, really look like hour by hour? Well, at the very heart of the entire day is this one simple command. The day revolves around the Opus Dei, which literally translates to the work of God. This is the communal prayer, the divine office, and Benedict is crystal clear. When that bell rings for prayer, you drop everything. Nothing is more important. The whole day is structured by this rhythm. 8 times, starting in the dead of night around 2 a.m. and ending with a final prayer just before bed, the community gathers. And what are they doing? They're chanting the Psalms. They are so dedicated to this that they go through all 150 Psalms every single week. The second massive pillar of their day is Lectio Divina, or sacred reading. Benedict sets aside huge chunks of time for this, but it is a totally different kind of reading than what we do. The goal is not to finish the book. The goal is to let the book get inside of you. Let's just put this side by side because it's a huge contrast. We usually read fast, right? We're trying to download information, to gain knowledge. The monk reads slowly, prayerfully. The goal is to have an encounter, to start a conversation with God. You stay with the words, you let them sink in until the text starts to read you, revealing what's in your own heart. Of course, a school like this needs a principal. A community needs a leader. And for Benedict, that leader, the abbot, has one of the most demanding jobs you could possibly imagine. The word abbot actually comes from the word abba, which means father. But Benedict, he takes it a step further. He says the abbot is believed to hold the place of Christ himself in the monastery. I mean, that's an incredible level of spiritual authority, but it also comes with this almost frightening level of responsibility. So this is not a CEO. The abbot has to teach more with his life than with his words. He has to be like a master psychologist, tailoring his approach for every single monk. And he has to live knowing that one day he will answer to God for every soul in his care, And get this, in a move that was completely countercultural, he is required to consult the entire community on big decisions. Because, as Benedict says, the Lord often reveals what is better to the younger. This all leads us to what is maybe the most brilliant and distinctive quality of the entire rule: its profound sense of balance and moderation. It's built for real humans. See, Benedict had seen other kinds of monasticism that were really extreme: brutal fasts, staying up for days. Some of that produced saints, sure, but a lot of it just led to burnout and spiritual pride. He chose a different path. He created what he himself called a little rule for beginners, something sustainable, something you could actually live out for your whole life. The secret ingredient here is this virtue called discretio, or discernment. It's the wisdom to find the middle path, to not be too harsh, but also not be too lenient. Even Pope Gregory the Great pointed this out, saying the rule was remarkable for its discretio. And that, right there, is the secret to why it's lasted 1,500 years. And my favorite example of this is his rule about wine. Benedict basically says, look, ideally, my monks wouldn't drink any wine at all. But then, with this amazing touch of realism and humor, he says, but the monks of our day just can't be convinced of this. So he says, okay, let's at least agree that we won't drink to excess. How human is that? It's not weakness, it is profound wisdom about people. So, you add it all up, the schedules, the vows, the leadership, the moderation. What is the ultimate point? What is this whole school really for? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one incredibly powerful sentence. The Rule of St. Benedict isn't a legal textbook. It's a practical handbook for a life of love. Every single detail is designed to help a monk clear away all the clutter and learn, day by day, to put the love of Christ above all else. And the ripple effect of this one little rule has been just staggering. Benedictine monasteries became these islands of stability that literally saved classical learning during the Dark Ages. They cultivated the land across Europe, they started the first schools and hospitals, and they fundamentally shaped Western culture. So much so that today, St. Benedict is the patron saint of Europe. And so this 1,500-year-old rule leaves us with a question. It's a question that echoes through time, not just for monks, but for every single one of us. Benedict challenges his followers to prefer nothing whatever to the love of Christ. And it forces us to ask ourselves, in our own lives, what is the one thing we truly prefer above all else?